What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Wizards Latest. I'm your host, Ben Robertson. And first off, guys, big thanks to you for tuning in here every single weekday. Appreciate all your support here on the page. Happy Friday, as you can see, back in the DMV. Do me a favor, hit those like and subscribe buttons while you're watching along. Specifically, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get this thing to 1K. I know some of you might be on the fence. You might be seeing the videos in your page every single weekday. I said this yesterday, but hey, it's free. Hit that subscribe button. Costs you absolutely nothing, and you get great Wizards latest content every single day, or every single weekday, I guess. Let's jump right in here today. Let's chat a little bit about the Bulls matchup from last night. 119-108 was the final. Obviously, the big news, the Wizards, following that loss and an Indiana's win, Washington has at least clinched a tie for the worst record in the NBA this season. One more loss to Miami or Cleveland ends the hashtag final tank and guarantees the Wizards will receive a top 5 draft pick. That's from Sleeper Wizards there. And of course, Washington back at it this evening. They'll take on Miami this Friday night, and then another game against Cleveland to close things out on Sunday. So just a couple more left this year. Just quickly on the Bulls matchup, I mean, credit to the guys that were on the court just for playing hard, to be quite honest. I mean, they had, I think they had a lead there late in the second quarter, and I mean, frankly, Chicago isn't really much better at this point in the season. But again, we're going to look back on this one and kind of laugh. I think this, this box score is going to get tweeted out in a couple of years, and it's going to be like one of those who was playing type moments. Anthony Gill with 39 minutes played. Leaky Black played 41 minutes on the game. Juju Reese with 39 minutes. The Wizards only play 8 guys. Kind of hilarious. Sharif Cooper limited to 14 minutes on the game, and a cool 4 of 6 shooting from the floor for Sharif. And frankly, I think if he played any more, I mean, the Wizards would have had to be worried he got a little hot and started scoring too many buckets for them. Again, just thanks to those guys making it entertaining just enough. And again, what's got to be pretty rough moments for them where they realize kind of what's going on. We obviously aren't really complaining at this point. Again, the Wizards very much trying to lose, and that's kind of what they have to do. And just leaving no crumbs, really, in terms of trying to secure the very best possible odds in the lottery, the very worst record that they can. And evidence of that, I was kind of hoping maybe with another loss tonight, maybe Alex Sarr might get back. We might get like a semblance of a healthy lineup, or at least who's left and not totally ruled out for the year for that last game of the season on Sunday. But Brian Keefe saying yesterday, according to Chase Hughes of Monumental Sports, that Sarr is unlikely to play again this season. So I guess that limits my hopes to maybe getting Trae Johnson back for that game. Maybe get a Trae, like Bilal, Bub, Will Riley mix working together. I know Keyshawn, believe he's already been ruled out for the season. Probably depends on, I guess, how everything shakes out after tonight's matchup. But again, Wizards clearly showing, and no complaints here really as a fan, even though it makes just for some tough viewing experiences on a nightly basis. No complaints that they, again, are trying to secure the very best possible lottery odds. Now, I want to look ahead here just a little bit to next season. Obviously, Anthony Davis has kind of dominated the headlines a little bit the last couple of days with some of the comments that have come out from him. Well, I want to talk AD. I also want to talk Trae Young, because I feel like he's become maybe a forgotten man this week and just around the league. And I think there's almost an underrating going on of a Trae Young right now. I would make a comparison, and tell me if I'm crazy here. I'd make a comparison of Trae Young to Jalen Brunson, and I'm not saying Trae Young is maybe better than Brunson, but I think if you made that comparison or said what I'm going to say, that I think his offensive skill set is at least, if it's not more efficient, but there's at least a parallel there in terms of their offensive skill sets and the total packages of shooting, scoring, passing ability. If you look at the career numbers, now Trae Young kind of hit the ground running, obviously much more quickly, and Brunson, starting in Dallas was kind of a lot more limited, and for a lot of that time just coming off the bench. But Brunson, an 18.5 assists, 3 rebound guy on 48, 38, and 82% shooting splits. Much more efficient. I'll leave it there. But just the pure numbers, I mean, Trae is a 25, almost 10 assist guy per game for his career, 43, 35, and 87% shooting splits. And obviously, when you look at maybe leading a team, Brunson's now done it more consistently in the playoffs. There's been consistent multi-round runs the last 3 years for the Knicks, and Trae Young had the Eastern Conference Finals run, I believe, get knocked out by the Bucks that year, and then bounced the first round the next 2 seasons, and then hasn't been back with Atlanta. So it's been more consistency from Jalen Brunson, but Trae Young has shown the ability as an undersized lead guard to carry a team in the playoffs. And again, I'm not saying Brunson is worse than Trae Young, but I think if you made that comparison or said, hey, Trae's in the same realm of player, people would look at you kind of crazy around the NBA right now. And to me, that's a giant underrating of Trae Young. And I think he's hearing a lot of that and, absorbing a lot of that as he sort of has this year off and is going to come back next year pretty fired up. Also has a chance to sort of reinvent himself just a little bit. When we think Trae Young, you think of an on the ball, again, lead guard. But if he can learn to play off the ball, and again, I know that's maybe a tall task when we're talking Trae Young, but with some of the actual playmakers that the Wizards have already in place, I mean, you think about Will Riley, Keyshawn George, 6'8", 6'9" guys that can handle the basketball. And we've talked about all year, one of the things that's exciting is that they can actually, initiate and run your offense just a little bit. If Trae can learn to play with those guys, just again, at moments off the ball, that's going to be, again, almost a way he can reinvent himself in the NBA. And I have to imagine sitting back and watching those guys kind of play and get minutes in front of you for a year or so, or whatever it is, half a season, is only going to help him going into next year. And I'm really excited about what he's going to put together. Now, on the Anthony Davis front, you guys sort of made the point to me yesterday as AD is talking about, hey, the Wizards need to prove to me they're championship contenders, and this is a place I want to be. I mean, you guys kind of made the point to me yesterday, hey, Anthony Davis needs to prove to the league he's worth another one of those $60 million per year deals that he's probably looking for. And you're right. I think AD's value is at an all-time low going into this season. And I talk a little bit about Trae Young's motivation coming into this year. Well, you have to imagine Anthony Davis, again, looking for another big payday. I realize he's already been paid a lot in his career, but I think sometimes when you've been making that salary, you don't want to take a massive dip, and he's looking to get paid again. And he's also made it clear he is looking for championships. He is looking to win, and I think you're going to see a whether that's here, whether the Wizards prove, whatever that or whatever they prove they're a contender to him, or if it's elsewhere and that's where he wants to get. Well, he's going to have to be again a really good player to be, a championship level player if that's something he wants. And I think you're going to see a pretty fired up Anthony Davis. I said fired up about Trae Young. I think the same, fired up, motivated, whatever you want to call it, about Anthony Davis coming into this season. And I don't really think motivation, honestly, has ever been the issue with an Anthony Davis. Frankly, it's been health. And that's going to be kind of the biggest question mark going into next year with him, as I think at this point in his career, it sort of always is. Let's hop into the comment section real quick. Appreciate all of you consistently tuning in. I want to shout out Jeremiah World Peace, Jed5068, a couple nice compliments from you guys. Let's chat. Respond to Will. I'll shout out William Burton as well. I know it was Renard Miller who was saying AD's current value is at an all-time low. DeGuru says we can trade AD for Jalen Duren and call it a day. Although you kind of led me right to it. Don't think really Detroit would be love going for that one. You threw out Donovan Klingen's name as well if AD doesn't want to play here. Klingen was a guy I think we threw around in trade talks earlier this season just a little bit. Mo Froman, I agree. Lottery conspiracies. Well, I don't know. I understand why they come. He calls them stupid. I understand why conspiracies about the lottery are out there. Again, just look at last year and you go, how on earth did we end up with the number 6 overall pick and Cooper Flagg ended up in Dallas? Well, frankly, that is why there are lottery conspiracies. I don't really buy into them necessarily, but If I do, I think, again, I said this yesterday, the Wizards, if there's any nugget of truth to any of those, I think the Wizards are due, it seems. I feel like they've paid their dues in the lottery. We've, again, dealt with last year. I don't know, maybe Adam Silver has relented just a little bit. Who knows there? But again, I also said yesterday, even if the lottery doesn't go in our favor, I think there's enough depth in this draft where at 3, 4, even 5, you could find a piece that actually is really going to be a big time contributor moving forward. I also, I would say we're underrating maybe Trae, or there's been an underrating of a Trae Young. I think maybe what actually is here already in some of these young players. Again, we don't ever actually get to see them, or very rarely get to see them actually play together, all of them healthy on the court. Again, Alex Sarr's essentially been shut down for the back half of the year. Keyshawn George, I think that was a little bit. I think there was the UCL, a little bit easier or more obvious one. Like that would have happened even if the Wizards were contending. But we just haven't seen these guys actually play very much together, and I think we're almost forgetting. I mean, remember the stretch of basketball going into the new year at the end of December and into January when they were actually all on the court, and then supplemented by veteran CJ McCollum playing really well and hitting big shots. Again, I think it's going to look really. It's going to be a lot of moving parts and a lot of pieces to fit in, but I think it's going to look really good and really exciting moving forward with some of these young players. Shout out to Sal Hazari and James VF4QD, Dante Payne as well. He says trying to understand AD's thinking. He can contribute to a championship team. If he bought into a quick fix, Wizards front office are adding pieces to get to that goal. And absolutely, I mean, I think, frankly, again, when you look at all those pieces and then you say, hey, you could just throw Anthony Davis and Trae Young into this mix, it looks really exciting. I think the question with AD in terms of next year is that if all those pieces going to come together in a quick enough manner by to kind of to suit what he wants, I guess. Now the Wizards don't necessarily have to, succumb to his timeline or say, oh, if he asked out, trade him away. But I do think, again, I said this yesterday, if they get through next year, he's still on the roster and going into an expiring, year on his contract with nothing really secure after that, that puts the team in a pretty tough spot. So I think that's what they're kind of going to be weighing this year as things progress. That's going to wrap up our show. I appreciate all of you dropping your comments down here below. Again, guys, do me a favor, hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't done so already. If you've caught up on all your Wizards latest content here for the week, head over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Type in Wizards latest real quick. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. As you can see, I need to wrap up the week for myself as well. Again, guys, appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for watching another episode of Wizards Latest.